Why Australia is legally an American corporation. What? That is the video we are looking at. This is from a channel called Half as Interesting. It'll be linked down in the description down below. I'm not even going to waste your time. Let's get right into this. What the hell is this talking about? Wow, here we go.
1988, England hatched a devious plot. One by one, they rounded up tens of thousands of local criminals onto ships, sailed them out into the middle of the Indian Ocean, and sunk the ships, killing everyone on board. The ships and the innumerable bodies trapped inside them remained hidden for eternity at the bottom of the sea right here, where Australia would be if it existed at all. That's right, Australia doesn't exist. It never existed. The entire fictional landmass is at the center of the largest cover-up in human history.
I cannot.
And sure, now you're probably thinking, but I've been to Australia. Wrong. You've actually been to the eastern Patagonian desert in Argentina after being tricked by a cabal of corrupt airline pilots sworn to covering up 18th century England's 67th worst genocide. Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry.
What the hell is going on here? I'm confused already.
Conspiracy theory sites again. And believe it or not, this isn't the only widespread conspiracy theory about Australia not existing. A lot of people, even some Australians, believe that Australia isn't a country, but is actually an American corporation. The weird thing is, it turns out they're actually kind of right. But in order to explain exactly how, and in order to determine whether or not Australians should be jumping in the ocean and swimming to the nearest real country, we need to talk about how Australia became a company in the first place.
Now this, other than that kind of weird intro, once they got to the point here, this is really weird. This is really weird. Australia is legally an American company. What the hell?
The year is 2009. Barack Obama has just been sworn in as the 44th President of the United States. Peanut Corp is being implicated in the deaths of 9 Americans and the poisoning of 600 more. You are alone in your room, recovering from the swine flu, playing Wii Sports Resort on mute as your mother weeps in the living room, unsure if your family will ever be able to recover from the worst economic recession since the Great Depression. By June, all of these connected dots will eventually culminate in Australia's incorporation in the United States. Well, I mean, except for the Obama thing, and the peanut thing, and the swine flu thing. And the Wii Sport, really just the recession thing. The recession is what will lead to Australia's eventual incorporation in the United States. You see, when a country's economy starts to collapse, the idea of drawing all your money out of your bank account and investing it in gold and man-killing crossbows before the bank collapses starts to sound really appealing.
Right.
Suddenly, everyone is kicking down the door of the
I remember there were gold commercials and things of the like just everywhere. Everywhere. It was total panic. I was too young to really worry about it on a super personal level, as in my own money, because I pretty much had like none. I was only, 17 or 18? No, probably 16 or 17. So yeah, I didn't have much to really lose, I guess. But I know in my greater family, in everyone, it was a very scary time. And it was funny, just the gold thing reminded me, like you saw a lot of interesting investment opportunities going on.
Their banks of all their money, and things get really bad.
Right.
Like a whole bunch of people lose their entire life savings because the banks ran out of money and shut down bad. Knowing that this sort of run on the bank would happen in their country if the downturn reached them, Australia promised all of its citizens that even if all the banks collapsed, the government would be able to pay back any of the money that they weren't able to withdraw in time. With this sort of reassurance, there would be no reason for people to panic, and hopefully the run on the bank would never happen in the first place. Now, that sounds good, but it also sounds good when you tell a girl at the bar that your favorite hobby is skiing down a giant mountain of gold coins like Scrooge McDuck. The problem, however...
I kind of see where this is going. So, yeah, that does sound like a good proposition by the Australian government. Hey, look at what's happening in somewhere else. Banks are collapsing. People are really losing money on a large scale. They might have money in the bank, and now they can't even pull it out. The bank is literally going under. That's scary, right? So Australia says, hey, don't worry, don't panic. If it gets really bad down here, the banks really start collapsing, we are going to be able to pay you whatever you were supposed to have back. Sounds great, but how are they going to guarantee that?
Is the same. When you need to prove it, where's that money going to come from? Australia couldn't just print more money. Well, I mean, they could, but then you run into the risk of crazy hyperinflation like the Weimar Republic, and lesson one of history is that you really, really don't want to be the Weimar Republic. So they decided that if it ever came to it, they should just borrow the money from someplace else, specifically American companies. Now, it's not quite simple. Lending money to a country instead of a company comes with certain risks.
Yeah.
For example, if I lent money directly to Australia, Australia could just pass the Sam is a total rube and no one has to ever pay him his money back law. So, in order to follow the same regulations as other American companies, Australia had to register as a corporation with the US Securities and Exchange Commission,
No
creating its
kidding.
very own prospectus, business plan, budget outline, basically everything a real American corporation would need to secure investors.
What? Okay, so if Australia is literally registered with the SEC, then that means, oh my God, can I open up my phone and invest in Australia directly?
So, what does this mean for Australians?
That's
Is
weird.
Australia not a real country? Are Australians all just American employees? Are evil American investors pocketing Australian taxpayers' hard-earned money? Yes, yes, and yes. Wait,
Oh my
sorry,
God,
that was
no.
my conspiracy theorist intern again. The real answer is, of course, no.
No.
The Australian Treasury owns the company in full. The shares are
Okay.
not available on any stock exchange, and the
Oh,
prospectus prohibits
darn.
any
Darn. Well, my whole like $2 I have on me, I was gonna invest, but because I'm a big Wall Street mogul, right? But no, it's not listed. It is not listed on the stock exchange.
full. The shares are not available on any stock exchange, and the prospectus
Wouldn't that be
prohibits
funny?
any share of the company from being traded, sold, or compensated with dividends.
Oh wow, so it's okay. So that is a little. I'm gonna admit this is a very particular kind of weird scenario. It's one of those things where you can basically say a broad gotcha statement like Australia is an American company, is an American corporation. And I guess it's technically true. So that is pretty funny, like pretty crazy. But at the same time, it's not what it sounds like. It's not an American company like, Coca-Cola is, where you can invest in them and get dividends and payouts, and it can go up and down and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It is literally in writing here that it will not receive any proceeds from investors. Basically, it will not be riding the up and down waves every day on Wall Street, right?
And let's be honest, it's not like investors are jumping to cash in on a company whose most popular product is a middle-aged guy with a big knife. Anyway.
Oh
The point
my
is,
God.
Australia's incorporation is largely a
Wow.
precautionary measure to protect its own citizens, and in fact, the company has never once needed to be used because its very existence successfully prevented the disaster it was built to remedy.
Gotcha.
Now, if you're an Australian watching, you might be
Okay, so
frustrated to learn that your country is an American corporation when you still don't have access to every American movie and TV show on your Netflix servers. That's why you should use ExpressVPN.
there's the end sponsorship. I'll let him handle that on his video. They're not paying me, so you're not gonna see it on mine. There it is. So I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Very interesting, right? The title definitely wrote me in. Like, how bizarre is this, right? And basically, like I just said, it is. I don't know. It's true, but kind of not true, if that makes sense. It's not literally American company on the stock exchange that Joe and Jim and Jane and Jill can, invest in, and it's, going up and down, or it could appear on Wall Street Bets and on Reddit or whatever and go way up, the next meme stock, whatever, right? It's not like that. But it is very interesting nonetheless, even though it's not a really big deal, I suppose. It is still interesting that you kind of can say Australia is legally an American corporation. It is just kind of funny, I got to admit. So you got to tell me your thoughts on this down below, what you think of this, and if you even knew this, because I did not really know this. I feel like maybe I heard that in the past. I don't even know where, but I probably blew it off like, oh, that's BS, but I guess it's true. So there you go. Australia and America, we're really connected. This is proof, like I thought. So tell me down below your thoughts on this. And also tell me how it was in '09, if you will. I believe, thankfully, a lot of Australians did not get hit as hard as some other countries did, especially some Americans really got wiped out in '09. It was a really tough time. '09, 10, 11, really rough. And then other than that, guys, just throw a like on there if you learned something or got a laugh from this. I know I learned something. So, yeah, help this video out with a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe, join our amazing community, see more awesome videos like this. Check the description out for this original video. It'll be linked down there. And other ways you can interact with my channel, growing Discord. Check me out on Instagram and Facebook, at IWrocker. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, guys. Catch you later.